I'm Greg McKenna. It's been an eventful night overnight, very big one. We've had crude get crushed again, down 2 and a bit percent. It's recovered a little bit with what's happened in Hanover, so it's only down 1.5% at the moment. But you know, the price action looks terrible for crude, and it does look like it wants to test support under $40. But you know, as we saw with Paris, and as we've seen in the last couple of hours with a little bit of a rally in crude, uncertainty, or at least geopolitical uncertainty with a source in the Middle East is a positive for the crude price. It seems strange to say that, of course, but you know, that's the way it is. So what else happened last night? Copper's down again. It fell to 209. 209.80. That's another new low from 2009. We've also got gold at a new 6-year low, 5-year low, I should say. It got down to 1064 last night. It's heading towards the bottom of its channel. It does look like it could find support around that 1050, 1053 kind of level based on that. You look at that, you look at the fact that iron ore got routed in both in the Dalian exchange and then in the US exchange. It was down somewhere between 1.5% or 2%, depending on where you look. And you wonder what the heck the Aussie dollar's doing up here at 71.07. Sure, it's getting a little bit knocked right now, but the reality is that that's super strong. You know, the euro's down at 106.40 last night. It's getting closer to the bottom of its own very important trend line that goes back to 2000. Dollar yen was up a little bit, 123.40, even though it's stalling below 123.50. And the Kiwi was down. The CAD was up. Dollar CAD was up slightly. Sterling did all right. The inflation data wasn't a disaster. And so the market in an instant, just like that, after sterling had looked spotty in trade yesterday, the market bought it up. So where we are at the moment is we're in this state of flux where stocks in Europe roared, helped by more comments from Peter Pratt from the ECB. And I apologise, I've never actually heard his name said. It's probably Pratt or something. But anyway, he's the ECB chief economist, and he said they're certainly going to discuss easing or more quantitative adjustment at the next meeting. And so we've got a strong rally. The European stocks are also playing catch up, of course. But what happened in Hanover at the football stadium and then the rock concert meant that stocks in the US came off from the highs, and the Dow was down around 150 points at one stage from the high before rallying back a little bit towards the close. If we think about what's going to happen today, the most interesting market out there, I think, right at the moment is the Aussie dollar. Everything is going bad for the Aussie. It should be lower. Now, I'm not saying it should as in, I think it should be lower. I'm saying it should be because all of the factors are working against it. You know, you've got iron ore crashing. You've got RBA Governor Chris Kent yesterday saying that commodity prices have fallen by 50%, but they're still 80% above the lows of 2000. Now, what does that tell you about where prices could go? We've got copper down, iron ore down, oil down. You've got, an overall kind of a risk-off-ish sentiment, not normally positive for the Aussie. But yet here we have, as you can see on this chart, I'll use my crosshairs. Yet here we have the Aussie still butting itself up against this this downtrend line. Now, of course, everything could change. Something could happen, and we could be back down at 69.5 or 69.30. But from my point of view, we saw from Westpac probably 3 weeks back, 2 weeks maybe, that real money's back in. We know the speculative community's short. I'm getting calls from friends and mates and traders saying, "Oh, is there a trend turn? Is there a trend turn?" They're all a bit cautious. But yesterday's RBA minutes showed once again that there's little chance the RBA is going to cut anytime soon. So unlike the rest of the world, where Europe and China and lots of other countries are cutting, at least in Australia we're stable. We're well behind the UK and the move towards tightening, and I guess that's part of why sterling rallied last night, although it couldn't get through support. But so for me, 71.60 is the level to watch. It's noise until you get through there. When you get through there, you can see the Aussie move. The weeklies and the monthlies suggest that there is a rally coming. While I'm here, let's talk quickly about sterling. If I can find the darn thing, there it is. Right, so let's just blow that up so you can get a better view of it. Okay, broke down, test. Looked really spotty on the 4 hours yesterday. Yesterday afternoon. So none of this bit over here had happened. It was looking spotty and really looking like it was going to go for a run, but that was an instantaneous run higher. It traded nicely within the parameters I wrote about in the Aussie Trader afternoon report, and I'd recommend that you all have a look at that. But if you look at the dailies, it's still struggling to get through. What can sterling do? Can it rally? I'm not sure, but one to keep an eye on, because if it does get through that line, it'll have a nice old run. The other big one I'm watching at the moment is the DAX. I love the DAX. It trades really nicely. That's it on the weekly charts. If I zoom in a little bit and have a look at the dailies, yesterday I wrote a report at Aussie, which I think I know I tweeted, and I think Kath might have put it on our website. So we've still got this convergence of the 200-day moving average and this downtrend line. We had a nice old rally, but then a pullback yesterday. So let's see how that goes. But certainly worth watching. On a weekly basis, it suggests it might retest that line, but we'll have to wait and see. On the 4-hour charts, not a lot in it, to be honest, at the moment. Now let's go back to the SPY 200. Yesterday, I wrote in my chart of the day that I was a seller of rallies, and I certainly am. I just need to find the chart. There we go. So if let's draw another line in here. So what do we got? We've got maybe a trend line there. It's got a kind of a wedge. But the most interesting thing, and something I didn't draw until yesterday, check this out. There we go. Let's go there. To there. Click. Where was it? It was there. So we've got this top, bottom, kind of this, and then it's come down towards here. My sense of this is I still want to be a seller. It's stalled at my fast moving average. So today's going to be a bad day for stocks. I think 50.74 in MT4 terms, in SPY futures terms. Right, that's it from me. There's a speech NATO from the Fed tonight. 3 speakers: Meester, Williams, and Lockhart. 3 really big speeches, really important speeches. Otherwise, it's fairly quiet. Most of the data is out today in Australia, wage price index, those kind of things. Guy DeBell's speaking right now, which I better go and have a look at. But otherwise, hopefully the sound works. I do apologise for yesterday. I don't know what happened. But I'll see you tomorrow. Actually, I won't see you tomorrow. I've got to give a talk in Maitland. So unless something really big happens, I'll be back on Friday morning. Have a great day. You can find me on Twitter at Gregory McKenna. You can find me at Aussie Trader these days, where I'm Chief Market Strategist. You can find me at Business Insider, where I'm contributing editor on markets and economics. And you can also find me on my own website. Have a great day, and bye for now.